Nimeipata sasa.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me log in. Just a moment. Nimalize ku build. Okay. Get the VPN. Yeah. I'll start off by creating customers because currently all of the customers I've applied for them alone. Okay. Okay, just a moment. confirm codes. Select. I believe it's this one. Registration, number registration, individual number. I have to let it load all the other things before I continue. Yeah, so here I'll create a customer. Let me name him. Okay. Branch country. Still loading. Group.
But not to group them.
I mistakenly deleted my database, so this is new, and I was just trying to get the loan section to work, so I didn't make any groups.
No, I'm saying the menus.
Oh, currently no.
You had
I will.
another place where you had grouped them.
I had grouped them, yes, but then with the updates that were made.
For Nicholas, I'll overwrite.
Yeah.
So you didn't have it in your laptop?
And nearly push and then nika pull. I had pushed kitambo, then while pulling nikapata nini, but I think
Siko
nitapata
mahali
kwa
huwezi kosa.
one of the branches.
Mm.
One of my commits. Submit. I think sijaweka nini. Yeah.
The errors should be very definitive. Sahi ni kama they are very general. These are the areas you guys are supposed to work on. Because naona the reason could be not even your expiry date. Could be maybe the phone is already used. What else? ID type. Hebu angalia ID type. Okay. What was the issue?
It was the phone.
Oh, okay. But the errors you see, they should be very definitive. Inafaa kukwambia what's the problem.
We'll work on that. Jaribu tukimbiza kiasi. Okay, so kwa financing kuna loans and then kuna the loan application and then the new one. Applications new.
You know, these are the customers. What you can always do is to pay money to the account, repay the loans. Okay, disburse, approve, disburse, then repay.
So these ones nilikuwa nazitengeneza while there was nilikuwa na kasoro fulani that nilikuwa nimeweka. So the approval status haikuwa sawa. The status hazikuwa sawa. So when I try to approve, inashindikana.
Okay, so
it's quite similar to what the other thing was. Niliona what was available kwa nini ilikuwa sema ambiguous samani, because like ilikuwa na applications and then hapa say securities and then documents. Like it was only one section for the application. So what I did, nimeka the create loan in this section. Once to make create loan, some emergency loans, create loan. So once we've created the loan, tunaleta kwa hii section. So what I did, I remember that hiyo wakati mwingine said that there were too many steps. So nilieka hapa customer details and then contract and loan configuration, where so we can add all the loan configurations up. So currently loan purpose in a pick to what is in the appraisal, lakini hiyo nitabadilisha in due time. So then section ya penalties, piga sub if the penalties is available in Eka. If not, haionyeshi. So
or if the penalty is available in a display, if it's not available, I display. Henry, that's what I'm asking. Like,
yeah, I'm saying yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so each section ya profit and penalties ni iko na both the profit na penalties. So when the penalties is not zero, inaonyesha. But if the percentage is zero, haionyeshi hapa.
The only thing I'm seeing with your design is very flat. Hujafanya the nini vizuri, like the look and feel. Ama unaona aje Santos, the look and feel, does it look flat ama?
Hello.
Yes sir.
Muuliza je?
Nauliza the look and feel of this flow ya Henry, does it look appealing or does it look flat? Like if someone wants to use this section, enda kwa documents everywhere. Inafaa uziweke kwa line moja, like going down, not on the side like that. Ama like I'm looking at how can it be more appealing to.
I think hiyo colors nafaa reduce.
Documents. Okay, no, I was asking here side ya customer details na contract and loan configuration. If you look at like product name, okay, customer name, does it look?
I think none iko sawa.
Oh, iko sawa.
Yeah.
Okay. Ebu go down hapo kwa loan customer details mwanzo. So here you have picked only the basic details. There is no. Oh, ngoja. Customer details has only basic, like just the name, the member number, ID number, phone number, and account type.
What can I add? So that we
the old application also had only this. Yes.
I'm saying yes. I'm
Okay. We can see what to add, and then contract details.
So for the contract details, zilikuwa na 3 sections: penalty, profit, and then loan contract, which is nimeweka as the loan terms.
Okay. I will go to the next page. Okay. Anyway, the page. Application. Okay. I will go up. Okay. Oh, so this is the second page. Kuna securities.
Yeah.
So hapa unaweza add collateral na referees.
Yeah.
If you add referees, it works.
Just add a referee.
Oh, okay. Okay, just add. You don't have a submit button. Like, oh, okay. Provided it's there, it's okay. So if you click next, it will be added. And
yeah,
collateral?
Just a moment.
There's something I think also. Guarantors unajua pia wako hapa, but I'm not seeing it here.
In the other section, guarantors, I believe walikuwa wamekuwa the section ya application walikuwa separated nice na hii place hakuwa hapa.
Wako wapi?
Au sija add bado.
So hapo kwa collateral, actually security, loans security is supposed to be collateral and guarantors. So unaona hapa umeweka referees.
Yeah.
Inafaa hapo juu ikwe guarantors, alafu hapa chini ikwe collateral. Then on the okay, referees, I don't know where to add them. Ama tuad hapo kwa application. Go to application. So unaona hapo before documents.
Yeah.
You can add referees there because referees are not a loan security. They are just part of the application document for us to know the applicant. But when you want to look at the security, it is either the collateral or the guarantors. So just look at how he was picking guarantors. And then najua ziko kwa the same nini, ziko kwa the same element ama ni nini? Like collateral na guarantors ziko the same place.
No, in the other one, alitoa.
They removed what?
He removed the collateral section from this collateral section.
They remove guarantors ama collateral.
Alitoa guarantors yani. Sorry.
It should not be removed. It should be there. In fact, if you want to know, angalia the Islamic repo. Ngoja, is it Islamic repo or gani? There's a repo iko very clear. It works very well. The Islamic repo ama ni repo gani? Unajua pia tuko na
I remember kuna fulani where you click hapa chini tunapata both collateral na
guarantors. Yes, that's the one I'm saying. So you're supposed to use that, and then on this section ya collateral you pre-select the type to be collateral, and then on section huko juu unaweka guarantors, you pre-select the type to be guarantors.
And then nini peleke huko kwingine.
Yes, alafu referees upeleke kule kwingine because referees is not part of the loan securities. Alafu hebu enda appraisal.
Have to request appraisal.
You have to request. Ngoja. Okay, sir. I wanted us to change that flow as well because I have realized that we were doing the wrong thing. You see this appraisal?
Yeah.
You unaona, ngoja, hebu enda kwa hiyo menu penye umetoka hapo. Unaona hapo business appraisal, the menu item chini ya loans.
Yeah.
Business appraisal.
Yeah.
Hebu click hapo. Click new. Yeah, so appraisal actually means that we are trying to check whether this customer can get the loan, but it should be based on some other items like wao watu wa Future Finance utapata wakienda kwa client, there are some things they record about the client. So maybe the business type, what the customer sells, what the customer wants to buy, all those details. And then once they record that, they will use this to appraise him. So what the system was designed to do was to do this appraisal outside the application. Like we do the business appraisal. So the business appraisal can always be used in any loan application. But once it is done, you can either update it or you can just use it in the loan application. So what happens here is that we will appraise the business and even attach any documentation. For example, if it is Kenya, to attach the CRB report. So this is attached here. I know Appa Atuja provide the place to attach it, but I'm just telling you, maybe you can take notes. So once that is attached, then tukienda kwa ule uko kwa loan applications, hebu sasa rudi kwa appraisal where we were. Kwa ile application. Remember, this is attached to the customer information. So if the appraisal is already done, then tukienda kwa hiyo page appraisal, it should populate the appraisal that has been done that relates to the customer. But if it has not been done, then it should give you a place to do it. like here, it will give you the loan details, like the way you may fanya, like the application amount, duration, profit, collateral. In fact, inafaa iwe hata na repayment. And then hapo chini inafaa sasa i-display the appraisal yenye ilifanyika huko, like hiyo ya business appraisal. Inafaa i-display all those details that have been added in the business appraisal. But if nothing was added, that it gives you an opportunity to do a new appraisal here. And that appraisal should be linked to the customer and saved in a way that another time we want to do a loan application, somebody can just, it will just be attached automatically to this appraisal page.
Yeah. Yes.
Then I know there's an appraisal document, but there was also in the template, there was also a place to generate the repayment schedule. So you kama will retain your ama you did away with it.
Payment schedule.
Yes.
But I believe
I also realized that, you see this documentation tuna attach hapa kwa appraisal.
Yes.
They should be done in the business appraisal section. Ile business appraisal section.
Yes.
Is where we should be able to attach those documents. But I'm saying that if they were not attached, then now you can come here and attach them, which means that when you are doing the application and the customer is already appraised, then those, whatever was, if you look at this appraisal, you see the first thing we do is to select the customer, which means it is linked to the customer. Yeah. So provided is already linked and saved, then it means to kienda kwa loan application, it should display your appraisal section should display what is here. Okay.
Yeah.
You should just pick this. But what I'm trying to say is that you should add the place for documentation in the business appraisal. Unaona? So huko chini, before the amata hapa, after the explanation of the location and everything, you should add documentation. So documentation should now include hizo vitu zote tumeweka ile side, so that the appraisal is fully done here. So when you are at the application section, the moment you submit, it means that you have even checked the appraisal. So the moment you submit the application, it should now go to approval. Otherwise, before you submit, it should be in edit stage. Like, you don't have to submit from application to appraisal. Is like another step. I know we introduced it, but the flow should change. What I mean is that the appraisal, we can allow it to be done outside the application. And then the moment you go to the application, you only attach the appraisal that was already done, which means the person who is doing the application should just review or should be able to see the appraisal and can even edit or amend or add some things in the appraisal. But the moment he submits, then it goes to approval. Wajua hii kusubmit mingi ni kama ina confuse watu. Sijui kama umeelewa.
Maybe ni save what I've understood.
Okay, hebu sema.
So hapa kwa application, so kukuwa na application, then referees, and then now that's lakini before hata tuanze application, business appraisal ya customer anafaa kuwa ashawekewa.
Yeah, exactly. And it is not mandatory. If it was not put, then you can just put this section to be blank on that side so that somebody can add it hapo kwa loans.
This whole section?
Yes, you see, when you go to the appraisal,
yeah,
you'll pick this whole section and make it on edit mode. Unaelewa?
Yeah.
Such that if it was already done, like if the client is already linked to an appraisal record, then it should just display, but is on edit mode. But what you're supposed to add to it is just the appraisal documents. Hizo documents zenye tuko nazo your side. So that if the appraisal was already done and documents attached, it will just display the appraisal and the documents, and you can even edit or attach more documents at the point you are doing the loan application. Unaona?
Yeah.
So unaona hapa hivi ukishaandika the loan details hapa, the application summary, hiyo amount, duration, profit, maybe unaweza ongeza monthly repayment or something. Then hapa chini should be a long list of the appraisal that was done this size. Or if it is not done, then it should be that form, your application yote, and it is on edit mode. So the application notes now will come. I don't know whether you should have application notes kwanza, alafu ndio hizo details zingine zifuate ama.
I think after appraisal, appraisal yote ndio mtu anapata the notes.
Yeah, that's okay. So now it makes appraisal make sense. You know, before, to me, appraisal was not making sense because appraisal is basically someone who has gone to the business, done a business visit, and analyzed the business and determined that this business can be given a loan. Like I am doing an appraisal outside the system. And then once I determine that this guy can be given a loan, then now he can apply. So he has applied, and now the people who are doing the approval needs to see what I did as an appraiser. So all the details I picked from the business, I have added them here. So the person who is doing the approval will just view, okay, not approval, but the person who is doing the application will just view and has an opportunity to edit that appraisal. But once he submits, then the loan should go to approvers. So unaona vile ulikuwa na application alafu ukasubmit kwanza ndio kuja appraisal. That should not happen. We should have just the application, securities, appraisal, next, in a way that at the end of it, you should now be able to submit for approval so that it is very clear. When you submit for approval, it means it goes to approvers. So it should always be a button. I don't know how you can put the approval button somewhere. Okay, maybe in this other pages, application, securities, and appraisal, you can have next. So only after the appraisal is when you can now submit for approval. You know, when you say submit appraisals, somebody cannot know what it means, but it should say submit for approval. Like we want the loan to be approved.
Yeah, because even currently the button itself in a submit, say quote unquote the appraisal, and then in a request approval right then.
Yes, which is confusing. No, sure.
Yeah, and then the other section, yeah, approval. Yeah, kuna mahali mtu but that was, I think, if there is no mekacheka, lakini sahi whose mekacheka ni mandatory. Hiyo section ya nini onekani ya request approval kwa the last section, the approval section.
Okay, I don't know kama ni mimi. Echo.
Yeah, there's an echo.
Okay, let me try this. You know, I'm using the laptop and the phone. Can you hear me well? Hello?
Hello? Kumbali.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, lakini kumbali. Lakini nakusikia tu.
Yeah, so when I use the phone, it's clear, but when I use the laptop, it's not clear. That's why I've joined in two gadgets. So, but you have understood the flow. Hapa hivi kwa application summary, just note that I want you to add the repayment amount, monthly repayment. So you can say amount, duration, repayment, and then rate. Actually, you don't even have to put profit, you know, because we have a conflict of profit and interest. So the guys who are using conventional, there is a translation leaks alifanya ambayo if you put the mode to be translation, conventional, then the part that is written profit should read interest. But I translate in all sections, then the part that's written facility should read loan, but it does not do that all the time. So anyway, you can you have understood, like, the application security appraisal is one flow. We are not submitting it until tukishamal. So able click on application. Yeah, so hapo chini you had next, si ndio?
Yeah, I had next, lakini saa now that tuko kwa section ni.
Yeah, I know status is awaiting. By the way, it means you have to affect the status, si ndio?
Because hii status ni 28, I believe. Na hata backend pia ina nini. I think what I can do is niwache tu hii section ya
Yes.
So cause inatoka pending, inaenda ni awaiting appraisal. So sijui venye tutaenda.
Okay, so then what you can do, ukishamaliza na everything from application to securities, then ukisha submit is when you go to the appraisal. Like, you can still do the same steps, such that ukisha. Okay, do you know the changes that you're supposed to make for applications ndio na securities?
Yeah.
And then now, once we an application and securities, then you can submit that end appraisal. But I don't know how you are going to call that button, because the button should not be confusing. So somebody,
I can call it request approval.
No, you have said that you have to come to appraisal first before we go to approval.
Yeah.
So your button ya kutoka kwa application kwenda appraisal, how do you want to call it?
Review appraisal details. Review appraisal.
Remember, it's a submit button. Sindio?
I think, I think can just call it submit application, and then hapa ni request, and then hapa ni request approval.
Oh yeah, that is clearer. So ukishatoka kwa application na securities, then utakuwa na submit application button. Then ukisha submit, inamaanisha now uwezi edit, iko kwa appraisal. So the only place you can edit is now the appraisal details. So you have you have pulled that appraisal data hapa on edit mode. So it allows someone to add hizo appraisal details zote, and then akishafanya the appraisal, then inafaa now useme submit for approval, si ndio?
Yeah.
So it is clearer to the person, because what happens in this process is that people are not very clear on what next. But when you do that, it is now clearer to the person who is working on this flow. Kisha submit the appraisal, ebu enda kwa approval now, hatuko tumefika hapo.
So hiyo section ya appraisal, what does it do? Ina nini automatically inakataza mtu ku okay. Yeah. Hapa tu the only currently nafaa ku, because haichukui data in something I'm supposed to work on. Okay, applications.
You are asking something.
Hiyo section ya appraisal ina automatically no. Automatically kataza mtu kuchukua loan ama it's just for the people to review, for the watu wanapatiana loan to review?
No, it is for the people who are giving out the loan to review. I find that is not the section to do approval. It's just a section to add additional information to support the application. Understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the person who is doing the approval, by the way, when you go to the approval page, then you should see the other pages in read-only mode.
Currently kwa hivyo.
Alafu nilikuwa naona I think we should have a section huko juu as the customer details. Unaona customer details, the way uko hapo kwa the first page.
Yeah.
You know, anybody who is in any section will be able to see the customer details and the loan details. It's like, say it's a bit hidden. For someone who wants to do the approval, it's like anaitafuta kweli.
Oh, so something like hii kwa hapo juu.
Yes, something that can be, I don't know where to put it, but it can be available, it can be visible from all the steps.
Okay.
Maybe Santos can suggest. Santos, you are here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you see, what I want you guys to do, this thing we are doing it together. So it's not like my suggestion is final. I was thinking that how do we make this page easier or user friendly for the person who is, for example, doing the approval, in a way that he won't have to tafuta. Unaona hiyo loan reference status?
Yeah.
I thought it should always be hapo juu, like hapo juu kuna the loan reference status, customer details, hizi customer details yenye tuko nayo hapa, the loan details and the document. Then hapa chini is when now we'll have the securities, appraisal, and approval. But hapo juu has, okay, I don't know whether you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Like, application details, application, whatever is written application, it should always be visible hapo juu. Like, the securities, appraisal, and approval should come down hapo kwa close, hapo chini kwa close. Unaona hapo when you kuna hiyo close button?
Yeah.
So the securities, the appraisal, and the approval should always come down. So for it means I can navigate these pages, but the application details is always upper juu with the customer, contract, and the documents. But the securities, the appraisal, and the approval, those buttons ziko hapa chini, so that in any case niko securities, I can always see this is a security for this customer and the status is awaiting approval. If I go to appraisal, I can see that this appraisal is for this customer and the status is awaiting approval. If I go to approval, I can see which customer am I approving and the status. Okay, he referred to agree on, but the referee was supposed to be taken to the application, but it should not. Able click on application. Okay, yeah. So no, your application too. So it should have customer details, contract details, document, referees, then documents. So the referees ito kwa security kujaba kwa application, but this application should always be up, and then securities, appraisal, and approval should always be below it, so that when I am navigating, I want you to imagine that you are the approver or you are the appraiser. You should always at a glance know what are you approving or what are you appraising. So, or what is this securities for? Because right now, if you click on securities, I don't have visibility of who is the customer, where is the loan. No. But if it is uko juu, I can view e-security, but I can still view uko juu the loan and the details. Yeah, so this one is always up. And then the security appraisal and approval inakuja hapa chini. So whether I'm at security or appraisal or approval, I can always see the customer, I can always see the loan, I can always see all these other details. Sijui kama umeelewa?
Yeah, nimeelewa.
Okay. So hebu approval tena.
Nasema by just below unamaanisha just above he, but now this iko above this 4. Hii iko above this 4. Ama hii iko huku chini kabisa.
Chini kabisa, hapo kwa close.
Okay.
Yeah, hapo kwa close, like your application remains where it is, but securities, appraisal, and approval zinakuja hapo kwa close, so that I can always, hata niki-click on securities, I can still see application details hapo juu. Niki-click on appraisal, I can still see application details hapo juu. Niki-click on approval, I can still see application details hapo juu. So it means when I'm approving, I have visibility of what I'm approving.
So hii tab ikae tu hapa isisonge.
Your tab application isisonge, but your security, appraisal, and approval you'll come hapo chini penye kuna close. So there are different tabs. I know ukiweka contract and nini ina change. Ebu click on contract, ina change the form.
Or maybe instead of pick some of the data. ama inahitajika mpaka referees and everything? Like ni pick, say customer name, member number, customer ID, then niende kwa contract details and the application, and then you pick the principal, the duration, the nieke something like the way iko hapa, nieke repayment schedule, kitu imepangana tu hivi tu.
Yeah, that still works, because the idea is to make the person who is doing the approval see, first of all, the customer and the application. Like, the person who is navigating should always have that visibility of the customer and the application. I think you understand what needs to be done. So just get a way of making it, getting that visibility.
Okay.
Ebwenda kwa approval. Yeah, you see, like right now, if you're in the approval section, you're blind, like you don't know what is it that you're approving. Then, did you map the maker checker in a way that if I am approver number 1, then number 2 akienda ku approve, itamlistia number 1 the name of the person who was approved.
Data yenyewe inaleta bado sija test.
And then ukiwa kwa approval page, inafaa umwambie mtu mwenye na approve how many approvers inahitajika, like is approver number 1 of 2 or 1 of 3 or 1 of 4, so that aki approve. By the way, it's possible to check kama mtu ako kwa approver even before I click on the approval button, so that if he's not among the approvers, then you should just even not enable your approval button. You should get away ya kumwambia you are not an approver, so only a person who is an approver gets to click approve or reject or submit. Okay.
Submit anaambia you are not. Cannot. You already iko the maker checker flow. So if you're not an approver, you're not able to approve. Currently, if the facility approval ndio na nini inaongea kuhusu hiyo maneno, and I believe bado when you click on it at a glance, only when you approve ndio inatuma your user ID, and then ina give back to the nini once imefanya the approval ina nini. So previously I believe kwa hiyo loan application, a loan application approver IDs ndio ilikuwa inaleta hiyo maneno ya either is this person is but once niliangalia code ilikuwa inaniambia haikuwa na difference from the maker checker flow, because once you approve ndio ina populate let me reload hapa, ina populate the data kwa hiyo section.
Okay.
So this hiyo ni hiyo yenye imekataliwa. Nimeambia can't approve your own loan. So I was trying to fetch the repayment schedule. Kini bado sijapata nini, I'm still working on how to do that. So hapa alikuwa anachukua the, where is it? Make a check. Hapa alikuwa anachukua the loan application approvers. Oh, approval, make a check. The custom. This is the one who's created it. So this was the one that was picking who is creating what, but then nikaongeza his section where say ikona either the approvers, the level of the approval, the max level and the level of the approval. So populate every single time. Once the approval ame approve. So if it's 3, 4, 5, it's not near.
Okay, so it means you can show who was approved, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I think then you can just update what you have said. Is there something you have not understood or a question?
No. Because so like
yeah.
Nataka kuonyesha tu how the other one was working this out, lakini I've tried to fix your shida ya declining. Imekuwa bado atashwishi.
Yeah, declining is a very interesting one because I don't know what happens. You're supposed to the way to when I worked before, like you're supposed to. It's not just to change the status. I think there's some things you roll back, and then when the status is declined, you even remove it from the applications queue. Now that declining, the anyone who declines, whether it's the first approver, the second approver, or even the last approver, update your status of application to declined, and it removes it from the menu.
Something like this. I think who's
Yeah.
this? Look at this.
Hapo hivyo hata inafaa ikuwe na hiyo repayment amount. Okay, basi ni ya kitambo, but it's okay. I think the new one it can be better. You will update in the old one.
Updates there.
Oh, okay, I understand. No, I understand what you have done, sir.
So hapa you see the previous one ilikuwa na securities section na bado pia kwa nini kuna securities section? So kuna securities.
No, we agreed that the security section was to be moved. I think this one we were doing with you, or we were doing with who? There was initially it was
we are doing
Apo
with plus
yeah?
George.
With George, we agreed it was to remove from hapo juu iwekwe hapa chini. So I think hakutoa hiyo ya juu. Hiyo ya juu is redundant. Hebu click on hiyo ya juu.
Nafanya the same.
Yeah, it's redundant. Itafaa kuwekwa chini.
So nifanye the same kwa hiyo nyingine ama niache tu huko?
Kwani hiyo nyingine umeweka wapi? Hebu rudi huko.
Hii nyingine nimeweka tu hapa juu kama hii.
I think it's okay, aje tu hapo juu. But hiyo referees unarudisha hapo kwa application.
Yeah.
So securities should be guarantors and collateral. And by the way, there's one more thing I think I need also to clarify. If you click on collateral, hapo kwa menu, hapa kwa loans menu. Click on new. What happens is this: collateral should always also be created outside the loan application. So you can add a collateral that is linked to a customer. And then when you go to the loan application, it becomes available. When you click on collateral under the loan application, you check the customer if it's linked to any collateral. Then you'll give a list of the collaterals at that point so that the person who's doing the application can pick on the collateral. Now, why this is important, tukienda kufanya projects, mtu anaweza kuwa anataka kutumia a collateral to secure a loan. So there's a place kwa projects that we can link, we can make the project or the inventory that a customer has taken, we can make it a collateral. So when we make it a collateral, it comes to this list of collateral, because when you click on collateral, inafaa ikuwe na list of the collateral, like this is the customer and the collateral. So we are registering here a collateral, we are linking it to a customer. Then when we go to the loan application, it becomes available to be linked to the loan. So the same is not automatically linked until you add. The difference between this and the business appraisal is that the business appraisal is automatically linked. So the business appraisal is also added outside, but when you go to the loan application, you find it's available there. And if it was not added here, then it gives you an opportunity to add it inside the loan. And once you add the inside the loan, it should always be listed here, like business appraisals that are available should always be listed in the business appraisal listing. Sijui kama iko clear ama.
Yeah, iko clear.
Okay, so I think for me that's it, unless Santos akona anything like on this loan process before we go to presentation yako Santos.
Sina anything ya kusema hapo.
So I think because there is no much time, we can move to presentation ya Santos. And before that, were there any updates on the APIs? Because naona Nani aliuliza some things on the
nilituma nili update the nini itself,
the document or the code.
The code na nika push the code and I believe imekuwa merged. So the only thing I'm supposed to update is the document. So what I added was postman, but niko na the nini yenyewe hapa nikiweka tu sijaweka. I believe you can still see my screen ama
No, we can't see your screen, but okay. I don't know whether you want to present it now ama tumalize Santos kwanza.
Because we had already I had already showed you the section here groups, the section ya progress. Nilikuwa nataka nikuonyeshe tu hii section ya create set up group a group contribution. So because this is a customer who was already this is a group.
No, we are not seeing your screen.
Not present. Just a moment.
I think Santos am drop or something.
Yeah. So what I added was this section. Lakini what imekuwa na tashwishi. So what I added was this section where when you add the monthly contribution on the date and the initial amount, because here inahitajika when creating first of all the product and then in update the group's contribution amount, which inakwaga say hata hiyo section ya create a group a customer rather than a section here where the group shows the monthly contribution amount and then the date and then also the saving percentage. But hiyo nimesema I only take the monthly contribution and the monthly target savings. Oh, I believe I can.
No. What you do, Nani Henry?
Yeah.
I think we just need to create time to go through the APIs with you, vizuri, because sahi I don't think tutapata enough time ya kufanya hivyo. So what I suggest, tuache tu Nani present, Santos a present, and then
also hiyo ingine ya ku set up disbursement hiyo nimejaribu kuwaza labda because it has like economics cycles, like how many cycles per year, na nimejaribu kuwaza how that is going to be done.
Now we can have a meeting about it, so maybe we can do it tomorrow or something. Then we just discuss like end to end from the APIs to what you have done. We even test to make sure that it responds as per the design and expectation. Yeah, Marvin. And then now we can tackle it at least end to end. Otherwise, say we might not achieve much. So that's why Nani, we can give this chance to Santos to present to wonder what he has done. Santos, endelea tu.
Sawa. Kama mnaona screen yangu, mnaiona?
Yeah.
Okay, so hapa ndio process ya kuinitiate. First step. So hapa hivi kuna pending ama dashboard ya pending, renewed, awaiting invoice na the sum. Ina sum hizi zote ziko hapa hivi, hizi amount of all the requests. So hapa creation ilikuwa ni hapa hizi easy accounts, the one for cash suspense registration, of which nilishazi add, anaanza registration income inabaki hivyo. Papa maybe list the date for tomorrow.
I think currency you should default to the system currency, si ndio?
Yeah,
Ama by the way tunaweza buy kitu yenye iko a different currency. But I think when we enter into the system, we should have converted it, because the system is not multi-currency. Just default it to, there's a place, Nani Henry, where we choose the currency, si ndio?
When creating the company.
Yes, so it should always default to the system currency. Do you see later problem ya conversion?
So then after item maybe status.
Ngoja, hiyo ni next. Hiyo umeenda next.
Yeah.
Go back, ni kama hapo sijaiona vizuri.
Hapa hivi.
Previous.
Nisharudi hapo hivyo.
Oh.
Silikuwa na hizi accounts.
Okay. Sawa.
So next kuna hizi quantity and the amount maybe 100. Sasa kama nini nafaa ikuwe tax kama ni
believe hiyo section ya tax juu ni expense na hajui tax, hajui itakuwa na tax ya ngapi. Actually hii section ya amount hata sijui what if like my nini ilikuwa what if the user the vendor autume invoice yenye iko higher amount than what the expense yenye ime requestiwa. Hiyo ndio nini yangu. Nilikuwa nawaza maybe supplier tume nini yake kwanza, and then after that ndio
You know, Henry, hata kuna kitu niliku request that you're supposed to go and pick how they do it now. Like you're supposed to pick what forms do they fill, what approvals wanafanyika aje, hizo forms zenye wanapelekea chairman ku sign ku approve the expense, so that what we are implementing here is reflective of what they are doing currently. Umewahi angalia hizo documents?
Niliuliza Daud akaniambia atani nini, but I think ilienda over his head because he's always doing something every single time.
You always have to remind them, you always have to insist, because what happens is the moment we have implemented, we don't want them to say that this is not what we want, because the reason, by the way, like why we even took long to implement some of these things is because they are not clear on what they want. So when you are there is when you're supposed to do what we call, you are finding like the customer journey, like you want to know what is their current journey, and that is what we are supposed to implement in the system, so that by the time we have pushed the code, it is updated. They don't come back and say, no, we don't do it like this, or we need a different thing. So we need it to be reflective of what they are doing now. So that is why it is important. Okay, I understand whatever you have raised, it is very important, but how do we implement it? Like from here. Okay, let's agree first that do we need the tax?
I don't believe we need the tax.
Yeah, so I think Santos tax you can remove, because what normally happens when you request expense, you are
Okay.
still not clear on the taxation, because the amount that is requested here is the total amount. So it includes everything plus VAT or minus VAT. Now, when you are raising an invoice to
Yeah.
charge a customer is when now you can consider taxation, because you are the one who is paying that tax to the government. But this other one, when you are going to buy something, the person who is selling this thing to you normally adds the tax. So the amount that you are putting in here is the amount you have paid the person you are buying from. So that amount is already inclusive of tax. And mambo ya taxation, I think, will be handled differently, because let me put, how do I put it? I know it's important to know the tax element of an invoice, but at this point, okay. At this point, you are requesting the expense. Do you already have the customer invoice? Do you already have the vendor invoice?
No.
Not yet, senior.
Ndio nilikuwa nawaza how wacha nita ascertain how wanafanya, and then I'll try and call out kesho ndio niambie how wanafanya, ndio because I believe hata tukisema amount yenye I think kitu yenye mimi ningewaza ni ati wanaweka expense request ya kusema si tunahitaji sweaters, and then wanaweka quantity, and then wana click next. Now wakiclick next ndio wanaenda kutafuta vendor anawaambia okay, for the 10 sweaters and the gray sweaters itakuwa this much, so the invoice anawatumia, then ndio hiyo mambo ya hiyo pesa inawekwa, or maybe pia wako na budget yao, and then wanasema okay, for this we'll only spend 100 bob each. That was my thoughts too.
Yeah, no. Henry, what happens is this: before you come to the system, you already have the expense. So this is Abdallah, like Abdallah Finance doing this. So he already has an invoice from the vendor. The invoice contains everything. So what he's doing is just requesting the management to allow him to spend the money, which means he already has all the information he needs about the expense. So the only thing he's doing here is to add it to the system, and it cannot be added to the system unless it's approved by the management. So that's why at this point we're adding the item, the description, quantity, and the amount. So let's just say we remove the tax. Then when we go to next is when now, and remember, Goja, I think at this point, can we agree that the requests, okay, I need you guys to help me think around this. I assuming that we have different requests. One is for rent, one is for electricity, one is for water. Each of them should be a new request. We should not like add many requests under one request. We should not add many items, like many different expenses under one request. Why? Because each of them go to a different account. So let's agree that at this point we are removing tax, and then we can just add a request that relates to a specific vendor, because it relates to a specific expense, which is also a very detailed account. So at this point, we have all the information about the expense, plus we already know the vendor. So if we could just click next. So after we just remove tax, and then let's just click next, we see what is there. But just a minute, 10 at 100, if we go back, 10 at 100 should not be a million. How did you get that? Oh, 1,000.
1,000, yeah.
And then a million, oh, it's 1,000. Okay.
Yeah.
hii adili inakaa a million. Okay, is okay basi. Endelea tu.
Okay. Next ni suppliers you can search for, or you can select kama hapo kwa the first page or second.
Okay. When you click on next without selecting, just select.
Hivi.
No, I'm saying I will go to previous, assuming I don't select a vendor. What happened?
Oh, kama sija select I submit itakata.
Next.
Next. Nilikuwa nauliza kwanza payment method. Nafaa ikuwe ama siko sure na hapa juu. Baada na section ya initiate payment.
Ngoja. You see, ushafika initiate payment na hatuja select vendor kwanza. Sinafaa kwanza to select vendor. Tukisha select vendor, we have attached that expense to the vendor, which means that the vendor, we should even now attach the vendor invoice at some point. So I think at this point, we still don't need the payment method. Am I in the old one, Nico? Because remember what we are doing here.
Yeah.
I want you to see the flow. The essence of this process is, first of all, to request approval from the management to allow us to spend money. And how are we doing it? First, we create that expense. We attach it to an account, which means, let's say it's rent. So we attach it to a rent account. So we say we want to pay rent. This is the amount. This is the description of the payment. And then we have attached it to a rent account, an expense account, which is a rent expense. And then the next step, we have a vendor, which is the landlord. So we are attaching this expense to the landlord, okay?
Yeah.
And after we have attached it to the landlord, the next step should be we attach the rent invoice, which means the landlord should have sent us an invoice. And this invoice should be attached to this expense, so that later on, mtu mwenye atakuwa anafanya audit ya system can be able to say we spent 10,000 on rent, but here is the evidence that the landlord had invoiced us and we attached it to this expense. No. So hapo hatujafika payment. Hapo we are still linking. We started by creating an expense. Number two, linking that expense to an account. Then number three, linking now that expense to a vendor. Then the moment we link the expense to a vendor, it becomes what we call a payable, which means if you look at the old process, there's something it does when you link it to a vendor. It means the vendor invoice becomes due, like that rent payment becomes due. Now we don't consider it as money that we have. We consider it as a liability, a money that is supposed to be paid. What happens at that point when, after we have linked the invoice to the vendor, I've said like hapa, okay, click next, leave alone the payment method. I want to click next, I see what happens.
You know, for now, mpaka ni select moja juu, ama niitoe juu. Lazima, if anything ikuwe null, itakata, you know.
Oh, okay. Okay, just select. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Just select a payment method. Okay.
So hapa ndio kuna hiyo, before submit na confirm the details, the supplier, the item, the request, the account yenye nalipa tu, the department. Then hapa ndio na submit.
Ngoja, before you submit, unaona hapa?
Hapa
kwa supplier.
Yeah.
Inafaa una attach a document, or what we call the supplier invoice that will be an evidence
See, I think from the floor pale kwa touch imekuwa approved ndio una attach the invoice.
At where?
After you have approved ndio una attach the invoice.
So hii section yote ni ya ku request tu.
Request ya.
But the person who is approving the request should see the invoice.
Yeah, hapo ndio itakuwa next.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then endelea tu basi.
So submit. So ukija hapa kwa approve, you can see it ndio hii hapa. So hapa hivi ndio kuna hizo section ya ku reject, ku request na ku attach na ku approve. But sasa jimeka makacheka, nime request I can't approve, but I can reject, I can only reject. So
I think Santos, there's something.
yeah.
What does this approval do? Let's say to me approve. What happens?
So let me go there. Kwa another user niko chafungua tayari.
Okay.
Mwenye ako na hiyo, let me reload it. The new one, this one. So huyu anaweza akisha approve, ajabu kwa approved. So here ndio anaweza attach invoice. Here ndio ana attach. Ziko umenipata hapo?
So by the time unasema here ndio ana attach invoice, I didn't even see where you clicked.
So for example, acha nitumie ingine, this one. Here ndio una ya?
Na tabua view.
Ku view. Ku view ndio unaweza view that process. Like the timeline. Hapa time only timeline too. The one who may request sini na request na James Obole. And the one who will approve. Bado hajakuwa approved hapa hivi. Approved ndio unaweza attach invoice. Yeah? Details.
Hapo kwa details.
Details kuna request type ile account yenye itakuwa yenye request hii account, department and the purpose. I think nizo ndo ziko hapo hivyo. Ziko ama nimewa confuse.
I believe hapo kwa details ungeleta kila kitu iko kwa hiyo nini ya kwa hiyo naitwaje, kwa the request, like all the data yenye ulikuwa, so hapo before request an approval, si ulikuwa umeonyesha like a lot think hiyo pia ndio ingekuwa something the user, the approver anaona instead of not
Yeah, and another thing, hapo kwa documents, unanisikia?
Yeah, nakusikia.
Hapo kwa documents, me I thought that, bado sijaelewa why we are attaching the invoice after the approval, because the person who is doing the approval needs to see the invoice.
Okay, sasa nafai kwa before.
Yeah, inafaa ikuwe before, so that the person who is doing the approval can be able to see the Oh, okay. I understand. By the way, it's after. You know what happens?
Yeah.
You cannot request a customer to send you an invoice before the expense is approved. Yeah, you are right. It is after. You know why? Because the invoice is a commitment. It's like a commitment to buy. Like, I cannot send you an invoice unless you have committed to buy. So e-approval is like a promise to purchase. Like, before approval, the only document you can attach is like a promise to purchase. Unanisikia?
Yeah, nakusikia.
Yeah, so it means that at the point that you are requesting for an expense approval, you have not been allowed to spend. So you can't tell the vendor to send you an invoice. So the moment it has been approved is when now you can you can now ask the vendor to send you an invoice. And then after the invoice has been sent and attached, then a payment process is different now. Now you go to the process of payment approval.
Okay.
So I think you are right. The only place now you are details.
About details. Yeah.
Just you make the details capture what was there in the
Before submitting, yeah. Like the items, yeah. Okay, I will add them.
Okay. What else was to be edited? What else was to be added? Ni kama nimepoteza the flow kidogo.
Kwa all of it, I'm only this section. Kwa hii nyama, this section or I think ilikuwa hapa hivi after approving ilikuwa nikiattach, si ndio? Hapa ilikuwa sawa, hapa msema kwa sawa. Ilikuwa this last page here ndio ilikuwa ni kama nimeweka bank transfer, I could select the bank yenye ziko. Ilikuwa nafuata ni add this one, the active one.
Sasa hapa ni kwa payment ama tuko wapi? Unajua mimi niko confused.
Hapa ni kwa payment initiation.
Umefika aje kwa payment initiation? Hebu go back.
So after nime approve, si ndio?
Hebu gani kuna status approved?
Hapa hivi na hapa kando ndio ziko hapa approved hapa hivi. This one.
Oh, hebu click on approve ya.
Nafika hapo ndio nikiattach invoice ndio. Sasa nimeattach ndio naweza submit the invoice. Ama ni add another document.
Nataka view kwanza before ni attach the invoice. This should be view like hebu close. Nataka like I want to see if I just view, what do I see before niseme attach invoice?
Ni the it's only timeline tu ndio iko hapo hivyo.
I can attach invoice on this page, sio?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
nime attach invoice nika submit.
Yeah.
Naona and process entry utaangalia. So nime attach invoice nika submit. What does the status show?
Okay.
Approve the one. I want to check nime attach invoice already, sindio?
Yeah.
I want to initiate a payment, and I want to see a very clear way that I can initiate a payment when I have the listing. Like, I have the listing of approved payment requests. I want that listing to show me whether invoice has been attached or not, and the status of the payment. Maybe iniambie you can now start initiate a payment.
Or like a message, like a pop-up message nakwambia iko attached.
Yes, like I can see it's attached. They would just go to the listing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hapa, by seeing the listing, can I know whether there is an invoice attached or not? So maybe at the end, unaweza show another before action, unaweza weka invoice so that when it is attached, it is visible, it's attached. If it's not attached, it is like, you know, the way we have ID, purpose, requester, department. Do we need this department here? Yeah, I think you can remove department, then amount, status, then you can work out invoice. So your invoice, it will be like, when it is present, you can show there is an invoice. You can actually click there and view, but if it is not there, it can show that it's not there. Then we should now have a place where we just say initiate payment. Because okay, I know we have purchases. Then okay, I know I think I know we keep on refining it, but when I think yesterday after we discussed or use it in the Fikiria, instead of quita purchases, we can even call payable process, payable management. I don't, but okay, I'm still looking for the right word for it. But you see the way, if you click on payable hapo juu.
Hapa hivi.
You see there are 3 processes. The first process is add suppliers, which it will remain, or add vendors, it will remain hapo kwa vendor registration. Now your vendor registration should also give you the vendor listing. So I think hapo penye ameweka huko juu suppliers na vendor registration is confusing, because when you click on vendor registration, you should have the listing of the suppliers, which are the vendors. Then number 2 is purchase invoice. So like wewe hapa, you have this invoice. Okay, ngoja. You have this expense. Hey, I think there's so much details we are missing here, because remember, the first thing you did was to create an expense. The second thing you did was to link it to an internal account. The third thing you did was to link it to a supplier. And the fourth thing you did was to upload the supplier invoice. So at a glance, or when I click on the details of this expense, when you click on the details of this expense, I should be able to see all those details. If you click on your view, I think I was not. Here, yeah, I can see the requester. Department we say is not important, but we still don't know which. So request type is the account, Cindy.
Yeah, request the account.
And then there's a place when you started the initiating, there's a place you gave the details, like explanation about this expense. You should also have it here. But apart from that, yeah. So we have the request, you have linked it to the account, you had linked it to a supplier. So we should have the details of the supplier here somewhere. Then
for now, yeah. Me hapa juu here, this one, the supplier name.
Aisha, okay. So nimeitafuta because it's not very clear. Like the person who is even doing the approval have a struggle like utafuta. It should be very clear. This is the supplier. Like
We should have, this is the expense, the name of the expense. This is the amount. This is why the reasons we are spending it. This is the purpose, like here, the purpose, yes. And then we should have the account, the way you like
just like
yeah,
just like the other screen yenye ilikuwa the one that was showing the say before a request now approval for the expense, the one yenye ilikuwa inaonyesha all the details. I believe hii ikiwa hapa pia hii itakuwa sawa because hii ilikuwa na almost everything that is needed.
Rudi kwa hiyo screen. So you see, like here is the account, and then now here you have the item, and then you have the description, you have the quantity, you have the amount. You see here, it has more details. So the person who is going to do the approval should have all these details. So this is the details of the item, okay? And when you started, you started with the reason. There's a reason Napoli give, and then now here is the vendor or the supplier. So even the person who is doing the approval should be able to see the details of this supplier, like the supplier hapo hivyo ilikuwa mpaka na phone number. So unaona hapa, by the way, so unaona hapa, it is very clear. Like we have the payment method, by the way, this is clear. So you have the name of the supplier, you have the phone number, you have the payment method, you have the email, and then you have the details of the item. So you see there's the item, the description, the quantity, the unit cost, the total cost. Even if you have the tax there, then the purpose, the request date, the type hapo is actually the account. It should not be type, it should be an account. Or not account, I don't know how to call it. I know it's the expense type, yes, like rent, but it should be we have linked it to what account. So if it is the internal account, or how do you call it? Internal account. I think you call it internal account.
I think meeting itakatwa.
Yeah?
Meeting itakatwa.
I don't know whether it is, it's ending. Meeting end time reached. Dismiss. I think we just dismiss it. I don't think they will drop us. So let's just, let's see. I've not used it before. So let's see whether it drops. It'll be like 1 minute.
Time bad. Yeah, I was saying into my suggestion, like this screen on almost everything that might be needed for approval of the expense.
Yeah, so even the approver should be able to see this even before, the essence of that approval process is for the person to be able to have a glimpse of what is approving. So that after you have seen all this, then hapo chini unaweza pata hizo buttons za approve. And then once it is approved, then you also know that the other processes, like I want to attach the invoice or anything else. Even if I go back and view that expense, your listing, show your listing. If I view it, you should give me this information. You should give me everything about the expense. You should give me easy details in the view, when I view, so that at least I can, and additionally, if it already has invoice attached, then you should even give me now a button to click to show the invoice.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that is the refining that it needs, so that it is. Then now after that, we should now see how do we do the payment, because now payment is a totally different process. Unaona? So Ebu go back, I want to see like how are you doing the payment now? This was request, it has been approved. Because the old man will not have look at vendor payments.
Yeah.
This is where we were doing the payments. So you can either do payments up ama kwa nini. So approve, I think you can nini. Henry tuliweka ama Henry ameenda or Henry you are here.
Nico.
Tuliweka whatever is outstanding or whatever needs approval should always go to authorizations list, sindio? Sindio?
Hii section ya approval ndio
and the authorization. I don't know whether he's using maker checker, because maker checker in any section, maker checker should have a standard queue. So the queue in this case, I know you have created the queue here. You can say authorizations or something like authorizations, but the authorizations should be per section. For example, this is the finance section. So the finance section upper have authorizations. Like if you go to treasury, you click on treasury. Any administration, I mean, oh, is you know authorizations up?
Yeah.
So the authorizations here, authorizations are teller, can be account management, can be shares management, can be facility management, can be standing order, can be payments management. Nile sasa, when they are listed here, it should tell me the authorization here, which section. Like it should have a section. So even in your case, when somebody should select the section upper, come as selection. So in your case, when you go to finance, you should have authorizations under finance, and those authorizations should be listed with the sections, so that we have all authorization under finance in one section. So the moment the finance manager has made a request, they should go to authorizations, but the person who is doing the approval should see the section. Like I am doing section here, vendor payments or vendor manage or expense management or expense approval or purchases. I don't know how to call it. I'm still trying to name. So if we go to the listing here, approvals. So it should just appear. I don't know, Henry, what do you think? Should it be here or should it be a general one for all the sections? Because I'm also thinking it will confuse someone.
I think for all.
For all?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the different section codes. Say kama the way kuna facility approval, kama the way kuna fund transfer, like the different types of any. Then
I think Henry, you can assist him if there's something he needs to know, especially on the maker checker, because the maker checker can be very tricky. I don't think kuna videos the maker checker. If you guys want to, I can give you. So we should have one section called authorizations under finance, and then all approvals should go there. All approval, so that, and with the section, so that the person who is doing the approval will see the section. And you see, you have to list for that person. When he clicks on view, then he can be able to see all the details the way Troliona in that page, so that uko chini unamwekea to approve, and then I think there should be the section for payment should also be conspicuous. Like it should be very clear. Like this purchase, this invoice or this request has been approved, and then now let's start initiating a payment. Like the way it is other payables, we should have a conspicuous link or menu for initiate payments. So like your initiate purchase, we should have another one. I don't know about payables, juice wanaita, hapo kwa payables wanaita nini? Payables, treasury, accounts payables. So hapo kwa payables wanaita vendor payments. Yes, I think we can call it even vendor payments. So when you click on the vendor payments, it will first of all only list for you the invoices that have been approved so that you can initiate a payment. Unaona?
Yeah.
It should list for you the invoices that have been approved, and maybe they have attached that invoice so that you can initiate a payment. So when you click on vendor payments, then click side one what it has. So yeah. So it should be, you see the way it's due date, invoice number, original amount. So we should look at what to list, but basically it should list for you. We should look at what details to show, but it should list for you the invoices that have been approved. And even the status, like that invoice, the requests that have been approved and the status is approved or ready to pay or something like that. And then when I click on view again, I can see all the details of the invoice plus the approval. So that when I now click on pay, I can just click on pay. Like it's a listing here. The listing has all the details that I want, and especially the maybe invoice number, the amount, the vendor, and I don't know what else. Then I'm trying to think. Then when I click on, it gives me an option to click on pay. Now when I click on pay, it now takes me to paying it like straight away. Sio kama hii hata nyinyi mkiangalia, hebu select a vendor kwanza. I don't know whether you have vendors. Click on select vendor. Any vendor. See, it has the invoice. Okay, these are the invoices under that vendor. So as what we had done there was to first of all initiate an approval request for a payment. Then number two, link it to a vendor. So what we have here is a listing of the like hapa we have to select the vendor in order to know the invoice. But what I'm proposing is that the moment you come to vendor payments, it should bring you a list of the payments that have been approved plus their respective vendors, so that when I click on the details, I can see the details zenye ulituonyesha ile side ingine plus the people who had approved it. And then I can now just go to pay, like per a single invoice or per single request, I can now choose pay. Then when I choose pay, it should just give me selecting the bank, the payment method and the bank. Unaona hapo juu kuna the date, the payment method and the bank. Remember, the vendor is already in this listing, Sindio?
Yeah.
So in this listing, we have the vendor and the request already attached to the vendor. So it's only that now you need to display it. I don't know whether you guys are getting me. You need to display it to show me who wants to initiate a payment that this is the request. Like I'm paying rent, for example. I need to see here just a summary. Like I know I'm going to click on the details. I can see the details so that when I want to pay, I have to click on the details so that I view. Then when I go to pay, I will just be asked the payment method, the bank, and the date. So because the listing already has a vendor attached to it. So it is the same thing here, like the vendor invoices that we have here, but the vendor invoices we have here are attached like a link to different vendors. You have to select a vendor per Jew for me to see the invoices. But what I'm proposing is that this listing have the approvals. It should also have the details of the vendor, like the expense, the vendor and the amount. And then the person who is doing Nini will just go to pay. When you go to pay, I mean, I can view the individual invoice. Okay, the vendor, you see, I don't know what you got, I don't know whether you got that. The vendor I'm referring to in this case, the one you have attached to the specific invoice. Santos.
Yes.
I don't know whether you are getting me. I'm not clear on what I want, on what is needed.
Okay, nimekupata.
Ama, you need me to write like okay, maybe what I can do, in order not to maybe bombard you with a lot of things, I think you can do first of all is to edit the process so that we reflect like what we have discussed. And then tomorrow we can look at the payments with you. We can look at now after the approval. You can view the invoices the way we can see the view the invoices were approved and all. And then you have a listing of vendor payments or invoice payments or whatever we want to call it, like up to make a vendor payment. So when you go to that, when you click on that menu item, it should only list for you the requests that have been approved. And remember, the requests that have been approved are already attached to a vendor. So in your listing of those requests, you can just show the request, the vendor, what you are paying for, and the amount. And then when someone now goes to view the specific request, then he can see all the details that we had in that request, plus the person who approved the request. Then he can now click on pay. And when he click on pay, he's just supposed to be asked about the date of payment, the payment method, and there were three things. What date of payment, the payment method, and hapo kwa vendor payments kulikuwa na three things. No, vendor payments, just go to payables kwanza. Vendor payments.
Hey, Santos, your name imenishtua. Naona 11:16 a.m.
They set your time.
PM bwana.
Time ni ya Saudi Arabia.
Oh. Washaamka. Okay, so what I'm saying is that in this listing, we already know the vendor and the item that we requested. So what we didn't know is the payment method at the bank. Yeah. the payment method, the bank, we can put the reference number, because this is, now we are making a payment. So when you click on pay, you will supposed to select the payment method, the bank, you work a date, work at the reference number and the check number. And the amount, yeah. Remember, the request has an amount. So you can actually, when you're making the payment, you have to write the amount. Like against that request, you can ask someone to pay full or pay part of the request. For example, we can have an invoice, tunaweza lipa pole pole, like we don't have to pay everything. Let's say una invoice ya 1 million, hatuwezi lipa hiyo 1 million at once. Tunasema leo tunakulipa 500,000, next time ukirudi tunakulipa 500,000. So we already have the approval for 1 million. But ukikuja kwa payment, we can split it. So once we have paid part of it, the next listing that you give after we submit the payment should be the outstanding amount. So amount due, amount paid.
Yeah.
There's a way now you will display the requests that have been approved and maybe paid partially. So we can show the amount due, the amount paid. So the ones that have not been paid, the amount paid will be 0, but they will have the amount due. But the ones that have been paid, the amount, in fact, the ones that have been paid should even be out of this list. They should be somewhere else. I know was in a disappear from here, but we should have another listing that now gives us the historical data of payments that we had made. It means if we have completed the payment, if the amount paid is equal to the amount due, then we should not have it in this listing, because that listing, the essence of that listing is to make the payments. So when we are making the payments, we should just see the listing of the various requests that have been approved and their details and their vendors. And then when we say pay, we should select the payment method, the bank, the date, the reference number, the check number, and the amount. So the amount, we know the amount due, but the amount we'll write here, it can either be you tell someone to pay the full invoice. Let's say another click on pay the, like another select to pay the full invoice, in which case the amount should be the full invoice amount. Or another select pay partial, in which case utampatia box ya kuweka the amount. Otherwise, click on pay full, it should be auto-populate. It means it doesn't have anywhere to type because of errors. Unaweza mwambia type na ilikuwa 105.06 or 0.10 na yeye ameclick 105, ameandika 105. Ukisubmit italipa tu, but itabaki balance hapa ambayo italeta accounting confusion. So it should be very explicit that when you click on pay, you just give him a button to say pay full. Pay full means that the amount paid is equals to the request that was approved. Or you tell him to pay partial. He clicks pay partial. So when he clicks on pay partial, you will have a box ya kuweka the amount. So itakuwa indicated that this is the amount due, while the amount paid is this. And then the balance. So that I can click submit, he knows that I'm submitting a payment, but less the amount that was approved. So when I come back now to the listing, I will be able to see that this invoice or this request was approved, but haikulipa yote. So I can now go back and again pay the balance that is due in that invoice or in that request. And then once they may pay yote, now there's 0 amount due. It disappears from this list, but we can have it in another listing for historical payments. I don't know whether that is clear.
Yeah.
Henry, is that clear, ama?
Mimi kwangu
Ujaelewa? You know, I want you guys to just be honest, because this is accounting. You know, like the biggest issue that we have had is that developers have understand accounting. So like you have to teach accounting first, even before you start telling them what to do. Because yes, what you do is accounting, like the system has a lot of accounting. So what you do must make accounting sense. So even before we go to the design, we have to understand that does it make accounting sense? Like what you are presenting. Yes, it looks nice and everything, but from accountant perspective, are you making sense? That's number one. So if you guys have not understood anything, you should ask, and you should, because maybe I'm an accountant, I'm an engineer, and I'm also an accountant. So I understand accounting deep. I did CPA up to K. So I did engineering, I also did CPA. So I am deeply an accountant. So you should ask me anything that you want to, that you want. I'm okay explaining it 100 times so that you can understand it. But you have a problem with that. Even Nicholas does not understand accounting. So sometimes I try to explain, and yeah, we have to like explain and explain. And the only accountant here is Martin. Martin now understands accounting and coding. So you will find that I may indic a lot of code that other developers don't understand. So you guys, first of all, I want you to understand the accounting aspect, and then code.
Yeah.
So I think Santos, if you we can go through it again tomorrow. I am ready when you are fresh.
Okay, we should go through it.
That will be better.
Yeah.
That will be better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Jomi place ni this vendor section. Though nilipata the gist, but bado niko scrambled kiasi.
Okay,
I
so
think
what I'll do tomorrow, I will go through the old process with you again. Then Santos can take us through the new process. But Santos, whatever we have added for the initial requests, these ones you can change, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then we go through it again tomorrow so that we see eventually what do you want to see. Does it make accounting sense? And then now you can ask questions. But for now, I think we have had also, because we also already had the initial presentation, I think kichwa pia imejaa.
Yeah.
Sawa. Then we can end it there. But you guys have a question?
No. Mimi niko sawa.
Before we end, hapa pia nataka invoice. Sinafaa ikue nikiview kwanza, si ndio ndo natouch ama?
At the moment, how are you doing it?
Attach invoice. Ni hapa nikiview ndo naweza attach kwanza ndo ni pay or
yes. Ukiview unaweza attach, ukiview hivi you should attach.
Okay.
Sawa. Okay, I think me ni hivyo tu. We can end it there.
Okay, good night.
Sawa. Patane kesho.
Kesho basi. Stop recording. Nione kama stop recording ya what's recording.